All right, it's Bobby. We're back again. Number 3 interview today.
Number 3.
All right.
Right on.
Flip this over.
Yeah, Metal Summoners, thank you so much.
Let Jay, kick it off.
No, it's all good. Thank you so much, Metal Summoners. Welcome back. We got Don Jamieson in the house, man.
Wow, who canceled?
Wow.
No, we made room for you.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. We got Psycho Steve. We got Angel. We got Bobby Dreyer. I'm Jay, but back to Don, man. First and foremost, dude, Nashville. How are you doing? How's your weekend been?
Hey, well, it got in yesterday. We did a comedy show last night. We're doing a couple tonight, and we're doing one Sunday at the Mercy Lounge upstairs, which is really going to be fun because we got the guys from Ace Frehley's backing band.
Very cool.
We helped them write stand-up acts. So the concept's called Backlines and Punchlines. So it's basically getting these rock musicians to get up on stage and try their hand at stand-up comedy. So, we wrote some good stuff for them and with them. So we'll see how they do. But we're flipping the tables.
Nice, dude, for sure. Have you ever had a conversation with any of these guys about them enjoying the first Poison album before they realized it was dudes?
I think many of us have been down that ugly road before.
I think all of us went down that ugly road.
Also, Motley Crue, Shout Out the Devil, the insert. If you got the vinyl.
Oh yeah.
When you
open, it's the whole gatefold.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, Vince was,
Well, I seen Vince last night.
Not the same guy. I understood.
No, I'm not saying that, but I like fat chicks.
I heard Vince sang great the other night.
I saw those too. I haven't read the articles in full yet, but all the headlines are saying that.
Yeah, it's funny with him, man. All the times I've seen him over the years, whether with Motley or his solo band, it's like I guess I've gotten lucky. Like almost every time I've seen him, he's been pretty good.
He was lip syncing. I'm kidding.
Well,
I've been that way too. Honestly, I've never personally really had any issues when it comes to how Vince sings live. But Psycho Steve.
Okay, so
the
question I have for you is, why comedy? Why did you go into comedy?
Wow, that's a deep question.
Yes, I'm very deep today.
Early afternoon.
I know.
Well, I guess the easy answer is.
You just got Gene's ass walk right by.
I know.
I think wow, that's amazing, that costume. Really, it was because I always loved music and comedy since I was a kid,
right?
And I just figured if I get in a band, I got to split the money 4 or 5 ways. But, I got to lug equipment. You got to deal with the drama of 4 other dudes. I'm like, I'd rather just, put my dick jokes in my pocket and go.
Awesome.
Keep all the money to myself.
So you are musically inclined. So what instrument were you playing?
Guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, see, they have the talent. I have no talent, so that's why I asked.
You have the beauty.
The beauty?
Yeah.
And the beard.
You and I are just naturally gorgeous.
There you go. You're beautiful, baby. Don't forget that.
Yeah. But, with guitar, I just kind of peaked out at a certain point.
Right.
Where I was like, I love playing guitar. It's a nice outlet, but I'm not ready to go next level with it. I'll leave that to the experts. Nice. And then I tried my hand at comedy, and, I remember the first time I did it, I got about 4 Mercy laughs. And 22 years later, I'm getting like 6 or 7 Mercy laughs.
Awesome. Very cool. Angel.
Well, which musicians do you think would really be good at stand-up comedy?
Oh, man. Well, Alice Cooper for sure. If you see interviews with Alice Cooper, he never tells the same story twice. Almost never. He always has these great, funny stories, from his amazing history in the business. And so, he would be, in other times, I would consider him the Bill Cosby of heavy metal. Because remember how Cosby used to weave these great stories and have this big punchline at the end, and that's sort of Alice's delivery. David Lee Roth, Dave could say anything and make it funny. Like any conversation I've ever had with David Lee Roth, I'm dying laughing, cracking up, tears rolling down my face, and I walk away and I'm like, I'm not even really sure what he said, but he's just so animated, and he's having such a good time.
Absolutely.
These are guys who are inspirations to me as a comic. A lot of people go, other comics must influence you. But I'm like, guys like Roth, even Ozzy. Ozzy always has great one-liners. He's like the Rodney Dangerfield or Mitch Hedberg of heavy metal, and the late, great Pete Steele from Typo Negative had that real dry sense of humor, that real self-deprecating thing, kind of like the Stephen Wright of metal. So there's a lot of guys who I think could be great stand-ups. But yeah, it's definitely a different animal.
Absolutely, for sure. Bobby.
So I got to kick it out. So whose idea was it for that metal show when you guys started the whole and it was great seeing you guys at M3. I was stoked about that. Look, goddamn VH1, put the shit out now, because you guys could archive that. It could go on Access, whatever. I know Eddie talks about a lot, but those shows, there were so many great episodes. But who was the creative idea of that whole thing?
Well, I mean, we came in with the ideas, like, 3 pieces of paper stapled together, ideas that we came up for the show. We didn't have a name for it yet. And then we went in and pitched it. And then a couple weeks later, they said, come back in for another meeting. And then they said, well, this is, we liked your ideas, but here's our idea of what the show should be. And they just pretty much gave us back the same 3 pieces of paper, but on their letterhead. So
nice. With a red Sharpie on it.
So I guess technically they created the show, but yeah, it was really just meant for Jim and Eddie and I to talk like we talk when we're just hanging together, having a beer, or being backstage at a show and sitting on a road case and having a conversation about music. That was always the idea of the show. Is like, let's just talk like we would normally talk. We're not polished guys. We're not.
Hey,
we're
look,
not
you got 4 knuckleheads.
We're
right
not
here.
news anchors. We're just 3 guys who love this music, and that's all we wanted to do.
Well, you guys did it like kind of what we're doing. We like to be the hang in the parking lot with the keg of beer.
Yeah.
And that's really what rock and roll was all about. I think the new generation doesn't understand that. Going to a concert 3 hours before and sitting outside with your red Solo cup.
Heavy metal parking lot.
Yeah, well, you can't tailgate when you Uber to the show.
For sure. Totally. So, Don, I got a question for you. So there's another, really awesome comedian / musician in Brian Posehn that performs as well. Have you guys worked together or ever considered doing a kind of a combo thing between the two of you, considering you're both the same style, you both musicians, comedy and just awesome dick jokes and stuff like that. Have you guys ever had a conversation about doing something kind of infused with your musics and comedy?
Yeah, well, we played Rock on the Range, the festival in Ohio that's now called Sonic Temple. So he and I did the comedy tent there one year together, and he also came and did that metal show. And I give Brian a lot of credit, man. He said something to me that was really profound, which was, he's like, do you talk about metal in your act a lot? And I'm like, not really too much, because I just think the nightclub crowds won't really, unless it's real obvious, they won't get it. And he goes, yeah, I didn't for a long time either. He goes, but you'd be surprised how much people really kind of know about our world. Okay. And that really inspired me to do it more. And when I started releasing my comedy albums, I made all them parodies of rock and metal albums, and I started to include more of that stuff in, and now I go out and open for bands on the road doing just a set of comedy about music and bands and musicians. And obviously I would, if Brian called any time, of course, he's just so talented and funny.
Awesome, man, for sure. Psycho Steve for our final round.
Speaking of that, I'm going to just piggyback on that. We did have a comedic actor. He's also a musician, Hal Sparks.
Oh, yeah.
He has a couple bands himself. He has Nerd Halen. Mm-hmm. He does his own solo project. He's recorded and written with Doug Pinnick of King's X, everything. Do you guys ever see working and collaborating with him?
Hal,
and also Jim Brewer.
Yeah,
too.
well,
you guys are all entwined with the metal and rock and things like that.
Well, Brewer, Brewer, and Jim Florentine did Metallica's first Orion Fest in Atlantic City. They set up to have a comedy show, and that was the show. Me and Florentine and Brewer, which was incredible to play for thousands of Metallica fans. And Lars came down and introduced us, and Hetfield sat on one of the speakers on the side and watched. It was such a surreal thing. So that was with Brewer, and then with Hal. So Hal and I were starting to put together a tour called The Monsters of Comedy. Take off on Monsters of Rock, and our first shows were going to be in LA and Vegas. Literally the week after COVID hit, So
Yeah.
our whole concept kind of got shut down. So I still need to reconnect with Hal. But yeah, Hal and I are good friends, and he's
Yeah.
another guy I definitely want to get
I'm
out and
definitely
hit the
engaged.
road
He's
with.
actually marrying my fiance and I.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's a really funny guy.
Right on. Back to you, Angel.
Thank you, Steve. Question is, on the New Jersey music scene, one of the coolest things that you do is you actually host rock shows with up and coming bands. What up and coming bands should people be checking out?
Oh man, well, so obviously I haven't been able to do that in about a year and a half. But there's a ton of great bands coming out of Jersey. A band called Second Skin is awesome. Negative Sky. There's a band called Rahway, which is also a city in New Jersey, who are great. So Jersey
Louis.
has a very excellent rock scene. We lost a couple of our clubs, unfortunately, due to COVID. So
Yeah.
hopefully I'll get back to doing that again, because, man, that's so important to me, to whatever I can do to help the local scene in Jersey where I live. I try to do. So thanks for acknowledging that. I appreciate it.
Very cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bobby, bring us home.
This is going to be for us. A little bit of advice. 4 guys doing a show like this. The 3 of you, how did you keep the camaraderie, the level-headedness, and the spontaneity? Because you go up, look, it can turn into freaking egos having 3 lead singers in a band.
I think we took it more out on the people at VH1 than we did on each other. So we just, no, like they always gave us separate dressing rooms. We always sat in the same dressing room together. We just have fun. But it wasn't always even tempered, the funny thing about Stump the Trunk was when Eddie would get crazy.
Right.
But what people didn't see was, the hours before that, either sitting in the green room or rehearsing on the set before we tape, and just Florentine and I just cutting gassers relentlessly.
Oh, wow.
To the point where Eddie would he would just be at his wit's end. So by the time we started taping and he missed the Stump the Trunk, he would fly off the handle, and that became such a trademark of the show. But he was already, people didn't realize he was already raw when we brought him out there.
Well, I always love that as well with the top 5 list, especially when you would cut in and be like, no, you can't share a number. Like, you can't have, 5A and 5B. And you guys were brutal to each other.
Yeah, and no, you can't put Rush on this list again.
UFOs on every fucking list.
No,
So basically, you and Jim were basically the 14-year-olds of the group. So we're like 4 14-year-olds without parents.
Yeah, that's how we tell each other we love each other in Jersey. We insult each other.
That's great. We're
Absolutely.
the same way.
Yeah, break balls, and then you go, okay, let's tape this thing and let's go out and get a beer.
Absolutely,
It's all good.
for sure. Well, Don, thank you so much, man. And real quick,
you.
before we cut you loose, where can you be found, and what do you have coming up, like, right next?
Well, tonight at Wine Down Nashville, 8:30 and 10:30. So we'll be there, and then the Mercy Lounge on Sunday, like I said, with the Rockers doing comedy, and we'll do comedy sets as well. Craig Gass, myself, and Courtney Cronin. And then I'm on all the socials, so follow me on there. And I'm going to go out with the Dead Daisies in the fall and open those shows. So I'm really excited. And I got my webcast, That Jamieson Show. So you can check out some episodes on YouTube. And yeah, it's keeping busy, man. It's good to be out of lockdown and out doing this again. We lost Rockin' Pod last year, but here we all are.
Absolutely. Well, Don, thank you so much, man.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Jerry.
your day,
Thank you.
and we'll see you soon, man.
You got it,
All
guys.
right. Thanks, Don.
Appreciate you, brother.
So good to see you again, man.
Thanks.